Welcome to another episode of the magazine. Today we're going to talk about the Father's Day Road Race, a favorite in the town of Fairhaven. We welcome Russ Benoit to the show. Welcome, Russ.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Excellent. So what is your involvement in the Father's Day Road Race, and how did you get involved?
So a couple years, going back to when my son was in first grade and my daughter was in third grade, there was this program out of Wood School, I think about that. So it was out of Wood School, and it was called Soul Sisters, which was a running program for third to fifth graders. So my daughter was running in it, and then my son at the time was in first grade, and he ran with us too, but he started running backwards, and he was like, "Come on, let's go, guys!" And like right away, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a tradition. So this is going to be a yearly thing." So fast forward to COVID, so this is going now 10 or so years in the future, and I didn't know if the race was going to happen because it had been shut down for a couple of years. So I reached out to Mr. Days, who was one of the guys who started the whole thing, and I had lunch with him, and then Tom, who you'll talk to later, was there too. And Tom had actually helped with that, the program, the Band of Brothers, with my son earlier. So I had known him from then, and he asked if I would help out, and I was like, heck yeah, anything I can do, because I didn't want the race to go away. So anything I could help out with. So as far as what I do with the race now, I'm kind of the guy who goes around and asks people for money and for gift cards, and which is wildly out of my comfort zone. But
why do you need gift cards?
So we have the winners of different age groups. So we have age groups of basically 1 to 13 and 14 to 19 and 20 to 29 and all the way up to I think it's 80 to 89 or 80 and over or whatever. But so the first top 3 male and female runners of each age group get gift cards as a prize. So it's a way for us to plug local businesses who contribute. And again, as wildly uncomfortable as I am with the process, the community is really wonderful. Like, every time I go in, and it's easy for me to come in now because they've been doing it for so many years that a lot of times I go and they go, oh yeah, we're back in. But that being said, we've also gotten some new sponsors just calling us, asking if they can contribute. So we've really been blessed with the community support. That's the reason. And then that money, and Tom might speak to this because he's the treasurer. I get the money, he takes it. That money goes back into the community to different organizations, police and fire, and then there's a bunch of them that Tom can speak to. But so that's kind of my role in the whole thing.
Okay, so for the inspiration of Alan Days, then you got to get more involved now at this point.
Yeah, like I just whatever I can do to help this race out, because it's just it's kind of sentimental, but speaking for my family, like it's, we wake up in the morning, that Father's Day morning, it's the first thing, we're all stretching and putting our bibs on, and, and we've just been running it for myself, again, Will and Olivia, my children started it back, God, my son now is 21 and she's 22. So, and they started back in first and third grade. So I don't even know how many years that comes out to, but
great tradition.
I just, I can't, and I know I'm not the only family. That's my favorite thing. You see all these families and fathers and sons, and some of them a lot older, right? You got, 70-year-old dads running with their 50-year-old sons, and it's inspiring to me. And I'm hoping that this just never stops. So I just wanted to do anything I could to help it out.
What's one thing that you want the public to know about the Father's Day Road Race in Fairhaven?
One thing that we thought about, or tradition, I guess that's probably the one thing I'd say, because like what it means to my family, like I said, I can't be the only family. I know I'm not. So this tradition, I want it to be around forever. I want to run this with my grandkids someday. So I would say that's the one thing that really jumps out to me. It's a fun race. It's, everybody gets together, and at the end of the race, there's, we have 50 dozen donuts and pizzas and smoothies, and everybody's just hanging out and hugging. You see people you haven't seen in a lot of years. So it's tradition. It's really community, which we're blessed to live in this really great town. So I would say those two things, community and tradition, two things.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Russ, for all your contributions to the Father's Day Road Race and keeping this tradition going.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Now we welcome Paul, Mello, and Tom Wojcik to our show, also a part of the Fairhaven Father's Day Road Race. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
So can you tell us some of the history and how you got involved in the Father's Day Road Race?
Well, I think we both ran the very first one.
Okay.
So, I think Paul's run more than I have. I've missed a few, but Paul's pretty much been a constant with the race.
And what is your involvement, Paul? You're involved in Fairhaven High School also.
Yeah, I'm one of the coaches at Fairhaven High, cross country, winter track, and spring track.
Okay.
Mostly just the distance kids.
Okay. So did Father's Day Road Race always start at Hastings Middle School?
No, the first one actually started in the center of town, right on Center Street.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because you would start it right in front of the library, run toward Main Street, and then you had a right angle turn going left. So with a lot of runners, it gets a little hairy there.
And you're always positioning yourself to make that first turn so you don't get into trouble.
Yeah.
And was it always in the morning?
No, the original one I think was at, I want to say 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And the reason being was because of all the churches in the center of town.
Okay.
I was concerned about church traffic and that. So it was always at night. And then I think people used to say, well, we have to postpone our Father's Day activities, cookouts and all that, so they could run the race. And
Oh, I see.
so then eventually, it got moved to the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not always been in the center. It moved to the high school and then finally to Hastings, where it is today.
Yeah.
That's great. And what is your involvement in the race?
I'm actually on the board of directors because we are incorporated. Okay. So I'm the treasurer, so I handle incoming monies, pay the bills, work with our accountant for our yearly reporting because we're a nonprofit.
Okay.
And then the day of the race, I put up fences, pick up water, go get ice, whatever needs to be done. So. Yeah.
And how many races have the two of you run in?
I've missed 3. I missed the second one. I don't even remember why I missed it, and then I had a couple of injuries that kept me out.
Okay. But you've been a team, been running for a while together.
Yeah, we didn't really train together, but if we bumped into each other, we would run together.
Yeah.
Now you must be 50 some odd years running.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I kind of stopped at 48. My knees said they had enough, so.
Oh, sure, I understand.
But we both ran for quite a lot of years.
And we actually ran for the Days Health and Sports, had a racing team, and Tom and I both ran for
Oh, that's great. That's great. So also more inspiration from Alan Days,
Yes.
who
Yeah.
was really the founder of this whole organization. So, Tom, where does the money go? You said that you collect the money, the treasurer.
I want to say after before COVID, I think we had contributed maybe $250,000 back into the community. Wow. So I know last year, and you can see this on our website, I think we donated back like $16,000 to various organizations.
Wow, that's incredible.
And some of it is scholarships, some of it is to the police department, the EMS and fire department, and other organizations in town, Lions Club, the senior center, the rec center. So it's it's a good fundraiser and a good way to distribute the money.
And I think you'll agree, Tom, that because the community has so much support for it, we're able to keep the money coming in from them to support all the causes that we do.
Yeah, sponsorship is a big thing. We get entry fees, but the sponsorship is really what puts us over the top.
Because it's pretty much a low-cost race.
We've tried to keep the cost down. You see some of the races, the prices are going up, but
It's one of the best values in racing around. No one has the cost as low as the Fairhaven Road Race, as far as I know.
although I have to say that we discontinued the mugs with the last race. And people used to say, "Oh, I have so many mugs. I don't know what to." You probably have some on your shelf.
I have a lot.
Same here.
So just to keep the costs down, and next year will be the 50th. We might do something special for that.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That'll be nice. So, what made this such a family-friendly event?
Well, Tom will agree with this. We've run road races for years and years and years. I think the course itself lends it lends it to the families getting out on the course. So mile after mile after mile, you see people that you know calling out your name. So relatives, the grandparents are out there cheering on their grandsons. I've been to races, and I'm sure Tom can say the same thing. You run a mile, and you don't see another person.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the community involvement, the day of the race, helps make it popular.
On a hot day, you have people out with their hoses and everything else. The other thing is getting back to what Russ was talking about, the program at Wood School and East Fairhaven School, the Solstices and Band of Brothers. You know, I was involved with the first year of Band of Brothers, and it was really special because, you know, these kids didn't know what they were capable of, and they ran, first they ran the West Island race, and then they did the Fairhaven race. And seeing their faces after they completed it, knowing that they set a goal and they were able to do it. And I think that brought in a lot of the parents. So now, you know, I deal with the registration company for the road race. And so I get to see who's entering in that. And it's amazing how many parents and children are entered. You know, they come in groups, and so you see one name, then you see like 3 other names, and it's the kids, you know. And I think that's really grown. And a lot of that is because of the youth programs.
I'm involved with Band of Brothers today, and the parents show up and run with the kids with the goal in mind of finishing the Fairhaven Road Race.
And Russ had mentioned that you inspired his son to run, and now he runs in college.
Yeah.
So that's a tradition that's carried on to the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, like I said, you know, it kind of lit a fire because he was able to do it. You know, he just realized he was capable of performing that, setting a goal and reaching it. And I think it just took off from there.
And Soul Sisters and Band of Brothers still continue to this day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So before COVID, there was a 10K and a 5K. And since COVID, when started the race again, it went to a 5K. Will there ever be a 10K again in the future?
I think we're thinking about it. The big problem, Charlie, is that Adams Street is a state road. Okay. And with last year was the first year that we had to get a state permit to use that road. And so we have to submit detour plans, coverage, letters of coverage from police and fire and EMS, and then we have to get approval. So with the 10K, we used to cross Route 6 in 2 different locations, on Main Street and then coming back up Adams Street.
Sure.
So that would mean, you know, additional permitting, whether the state would let us really block off Route 6, because you would be blocking it off. You can't detour around it.
Right.
So I don't know if that would be a real concern. If we could keep the race north of Route 6 and somehow do like a double loop type of thing, then maybe we would do that. But that's the big thing. And the other thing is with COVID, we kind of lost some volunteers. And you lose volunteers over years because some people were involved with this race for 30 or 40 years. So through attrition, you're losing people. And so with the volunteers we have, we know we can do the 5K safely. Going forward, we'd have to expand on that volunteer basis to make sure that we can put on a safe and good race.
I remember running the 10K many years, and I was actually really pleased that it went down to only a 5K for me.
But I still get people ask me, when are you going to bring back the 10K? And I used to say real runners run the 10K, but that's not true. The other thing I think you see now is, when we started out, running was the running boom, and it was very competitive. Running was now I think I don't want to say social, but it's more of a social thing.
And families can
And,
get
fam-
involved.
and more of a fitness thing as opposed to a competitive thing. So I think more people involved because of that.
You talked about it takes a lot of volunteers to assist you in this race. When do you get started for the preparation? It's in June, so.
I think our first meeting was in January of this year. Yeah.
And then
And,
go through the
you have a lot of
process.
things that are just repeat. At this time you have to apply for the state permit. At this time I have to arrange for porta johns. So we have a timetable that we follow to make sure certain things are done at a certain time. So it's a process that's been built up over the years.
Sure. And how many volunteers do you have, approximately?
Ooh, on race day, because you get all the water stops, I would say you'd have more than 50 people. And then at the finish line, we're lucky that we have local Boy Scout troops participate. You know, they'll handle water at the end of the race. They help take down stuff. So the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts help out. Boy Scouts up at Benoit Square too.
Sure.
And at the finish line, you get the North Fairhaven Improvement Association handling the Benoit Square area. And so, you know, different organizations get involved.
I know the Rotary Club also gets
The
involved.
Rotary Club, the Lions Club.
Lions Club,
I think
yeah.
the Livesey Club helped out with the 1 mile water stop last year, so, yeah.
So people do like to volunteer.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you register for the race now? I remember the yellow papers that used to go out.
Everything is online. Our website is fairhavenroadrace.org, and that has a link to the company that handles the registration, which is RaceWire.
RaceWire, okay.
Okay, and then you just walk through that registration process.
That's great. And so what is Mr. Day's involvement in the race now?
He's still involved. He goes with Russ a lot on the fundraising thing because he's the face of the race. He knows the people know him.
Yes.
And he wants to be involved. We try to keep him involved as much as possible. And he's got a lot of ideas and a lot of history. And like I said, he knows a lot of the ins and outs of how to put on a good road race.
And he still has a lot of energy.
And he still has a lot of energy.
Yeah, he's a great man. I'm glad that he started this, several years ago. So you said it's upcoming to the 50th?
Next year will be the 50th year. Yeah, so 74 was the first year.
74.
Yeah. So.
That's great. That's great. And you two started running the first road race.
Yeah.
That's good. Great memories there. Any other memories of a morning or afternoon of the Father's Day road race?
I can remember certain hot days.
Hot days. Oh,
Hot days.
Very hard.
Yeah.
You train. A lot of us go to work. We train in the morning or in the evening.
Sure.
And this time of year, it's not that bad. And then all of a sudden, middle of June rolls around, and that heat pops right up. So yeah, a lot of hot days.
A lot of hot days, yeah. So, but you have safety protocols too. You have
We
for
have
the race.
Yeah, we have the EMS, and they've put on they put up a mist tent, I think, at the end on hot days. We get, I don't know, like 60 cases of bottled water at the end of the race that are on hand. We have water stops at the 1 mile, the 2 mile.
Right. And a lot of the families just bring out hoses on the race course, and they put up almost a spray that you can run through, and they do it on their own, and it really helps.
Yeah. Do you recall who the first Fairhaven winner was of the Father's Day road race?
The one that I think of, and I looked this up, was Nephi Tyler.
Yeah, not the first one, was it?
Well, no, he was the first Fairhaven winner.
Yes.
First person from
First
Fairhaven
Fairhaven, yeah.
to win. Yeah.
There was a Costa that ran for Volk, and I think he either won the third or the fourth one, but I don't remember who won the first one.
No, I don't either. I asked Alan if he had the results from all the races, and he said he did, and I'd like to resurrect those, at least
Sure.
for the 50th, and do some kind of display with those.
Yeah, that'd be
people
great.
would like that, yeah.
I think people would like to see that. Any other plans for the 50th race?
Like I said, I
More to
don't
come.
know if we bring the mugs back, but I think we would do something else with it. I think right now we give out a commemorative medal.
Okay.
So we might do something special with the medal for the 50th.
I know people really enjoy getting that at the end of the race. And also the T-shirts, you see them all around Fairhaven, and New Bedford, and other communities come and get involved in this race, and not just Fairhaven. Yeah. Where do you have people come from?
I looked at the registrations as of this morning. Right now we're at 175, which is early, and that's probably a normal number for this time. I noticed I had one from New York.
Okay.
I had several from Westport, a lot from New Bedford. I mean, the majority is Fairhaven. Sure. But Acushnet, the local Mattapoisett, Marion, we have. And so we usually get people coming down from Boston.
And Russ had mentioned something about teams. So what kind of categories do you have for the Father's Day road race?
We have the normal age divisions. But we also have a father and son division
Okay.
Father
and
and
a
daughter.
father and daughter division.
And wait, first Fairhaven?
First Fairhaven, male and female. I think that's it.
And so who gets the awards? What
There
are
are
the
cash
prize
awards for the first three finishers in each, male and female. And then I think it's 13 and under, 14 to 20, 21 to 29, 30 to 39.
Okay, and it goes in those ranges. That's great. Well, I know that people really enjoy going to the race, whether they win a prize or not. So there's that camaraderie.
Yeah, well, we have, we provided food at the end. We have sponsors that set up booths, and I know some of them have little games that the kids can play, and they get a little prize. So it's a event.
And you don't
It isn't
really,
just a race; it's
you
an
don't really
event.
see that aspect at most road races,
No.
what's done after.
Sure, yeah, it definitely is a fun event,
I mean, it's the following week you have the homecoming in the center of town. To me, this is as much a homecoming as that is, because you like Russ said, people see people they haven't seen for a while, and they're shaking hands, they're giving hugs, and
So you talked about how people register for the event, and what happens? Do they pick up their shirts and numbers? How did that process go?
the day before the race on Saturday, we have a number pickup between noon and 2 o'clock at the Hastings Middle School.
Okay.
And then you can pick up your number before the race on Sunday. The other thing we do not take post entries, so we don't take any entries on Sunday. So
Oh, okay.
entries usually close after 6 o'clock online on the Saturday.
All right, okay, all right. And so then they would then pick up their stuff the day before they have that option.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are some recommendations you would give for the runners? That people that maybe this is the first time running, they haven't, ran any road race in their life, but what would you give
hopefully
to their advice?
they've prepared
Great,
for
yeah,
it, especially on a hot day.
Drink.
Drink. If it's a
you know,
hot day,
early and often.
take the
at
water.
all
Take the
hours.
water.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Take the water, do that. And how should they prepare?
I wouldn't need
Like,
a big.
like
I wouldn't need a
maybe,
big breakfast.
Okay,
But
It's
something small. I mean, pace yourself. A lot of people first race they go out like
Way too fast at
way
first
too fast
mile.
at first, and then so it's a pace race. I mean, it's not a sprint.
And most people can
Sure.
work their way up to a 3 mile. There's a lot of little programs out there that you can actually download on your phone and,
Sure.
walk to 5K. And it's excellent for somebody who's never done it before. It'll get them to where they need to be.
All right. And my favorite one is the Couch to 5K.
Couch to
program.
5K.
Couch to 5K.
Oh, yes, yeah. I remember that one. So on a personal note, I've been running the roads for quite a few years.
registration already.
Yes, I've already registered, and my daughter Erin is already registered
see,
too.
that's-
And this year, tradition is that my granddaughter is actually in Soul Sisters, so
Oh,
she'll be running also. She goes to East Fairhaven School, and our tradition is that at the end of the race, we go to Riverside Cemetery and put my number on my father's grave. So it's kind of like keeping the Father's Day tradition alive in our family. So it has a lot of meaning. That's just one story. As Russ has mentioned, there's many stories of many family traditions that people have on Father's Day, and that the Father's Day road race is definitely a part of that. Do you have any memories like that?
I used to, when I was running, I would go to the Riverside Cemetery afterwards too. The other thing is, I'm Polish, and the Polish church in New Bedford always had the Polish festival the same day as the road race. So I would
wow.
run the road race, and then me and my son would go over and get pierogies or guankies or whatever we could. That was our tradition. The race and then Polish food. Not Polish food before the race.
No, we don't want to do that. And what about your memories?
Well, it was always the race I pointed for all year long. We raced all year long, but I would work myself up from long runs over the winter to shorter races early in the spring to getting up to that 5K, 10K distance, and that's what I pointed for all year long. So that's what really sticks out. I could win another road race, it wouldn't have mattered. Fairhaven was always my favorite.
Always your favorite. That's great.
And we've had tremendous competition. Olympians have come down and run our race.
Wow.
Yes, and didn't win that day, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great. That's
it's very expansive then.
Well, the other memory that I have is Johnny Kelly.
Johnny Kelly.
Johnny Kelly, the Boston Marathon. He ran it a few times, and at the finish line, he would serenade the crowd
Yeah.
with "Young at Heart" and sing, and
I remember this.
yeah. So there's a lot of good memories, and yeah.
Good memories. Any memories about Alan Days that you'd like to share?
Well, I became very close with the family. Alan actually approached me to run with his son when his son first started running. He said he couldn't run with him anymore. His son was faster than he was. So we ran together. So I became very close, and he actually helped me become a better runner.
Okay. How about yourself?
Well, one was his store. You know, when he opened it on Center Street originally, and so that was the place to go to get running shoes.
Sure.
And that. So
Yep.
you know, kind of got to know him through that, and then, like Paul said, we ran for his team. I ran part of a marathon with his wife Flo to help her qualify for Boston.
Wow. Okay.
And that was very rewarding for me to see her work through that. And so we kind of bonded that way, you know.
Well, they certainly created quite a tradition in the town of Fairhaven, and that's ongoing. So what's the future of the Father's Day Road Race?
Hopefully it'll just keep going. You know, it's great that we can give back to the community, and hopefully that'll just continue to go.
We're working with the Band of Brothers and the Soul Sisters. We're trying to bring up a younger group that will get interested in the sport and keep it going.
Well, and not just interested, they're out and they're doing something.
Sure.
I mean, they're active, and like I said before, to see them set a goal and reach it is just very satisfying, you know.
Well, we thank you very much for everything you've done to continue this tradition of the Father's Day Road Race and Fairhaven's very special day of Father's Day. It's always meaningful. It's the Father's Day Road Race. So when is the Father's Day Road Race this year? On Father's Day.
On Father's Day, the 18th.
The 18th. Very good. Yeah, and people can register still.
They can register up until the night before. And the starting time, I think, is 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Okay.
On that Sunday.
What time do you suggest that runners get there?
I would, if I was running, I would try to get there at least 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
At least
okay.
by 8 o'clock.
Just to
Gives
get
you-
ready
gives
and
you
practice.
one
Yeah.
for parking. Two, it gives you a chance to loosen up and.
Some people haven't picked up their numbers yet.
Yeah.
And they, you know,
Right. So get there and be prepared.
Yep.
Well, once again, thank you very much, and we thank Russ also for being a part of the show today to tell our viewers about the Father's Day Road Race and keeping Fairhaven tradition in check. And anyone can still register, and encourage them to register. And once again, thank you very, very much for continuing this tradition.
Oh, thank you for having us.
yes.
Thank you.